India abroad. Today we are going to discuss summarize written text type of questions. Here in monthly predictions, we get the questions which are being asked normally during this month's exam in actual Pearson PTE exam. So we always tend to attempt that first. Let's go to summarize written text. In this type of question, we'll attempt the ones which we have not tried before. So apply the filter, not attempted. We'll go to the question which says spyglass. Okay. In this type of question, you are supposed to make summary of given text. Now here, the text is given in three different paragraphs. We call it a passage and a text. So ideally, you are given 10 minutes. Your countdown has already started. In exam also, you are given 10 minutes and you have to make a summary out of this passage. So ideally, you should make one line summary of this first paragraph, one line summary of the second paragraph, and one line summary of the third paragraph. And finally, you will merge those three lines by conjunctions or conjunctive adverbs, or you would simply make another one line out of those three lines. So these are the steps. But there are certain tips by which you can uh, perform this task. To score maximum in content, you need to have at least 15-20 keywords repeated from the text itself. Having said that, the best way to do so is just simply taking few lines from here and connect them with ideal conjunctions. So let's do this here so that you know how to score maximum in this type of questions. On a starry night in Padua 400 years ago, Galileo first turned a telescope toward the sky. It might seem the most natural of actions after all. What else does one do with a telescope? See, now let me tell you something before we jump into writing this. In this type of questions, you should never write question marks because you are supposed to write a summary. Summary has to be written in one sentence. One sentence means one full stop, right? One sentence does not mean one line. It means end of a sentence which is only determined by a full stop. Now, there are certain other types of sentences which do not end in a full stop, like interrogative sentences that end with a question mark, or those that end with an exclamatory mark. So these are the sentences you need to avoid, because writing a summary is in the form of a declarative sentence. Declarative sentence આપણે એને કહેશું કે જેમાં એક કોઈ વસ્તુનું ડિક્લેરેશન કર્યું હોય. સમરી હંમેશા એક ડિક્લેરેટિવ ફોર્મમાં હોય, એક ફૂલ સ્ટોપથી એન્ડ થશે, એક પૂર્ણવિરામથી એન્ડ થશે, રાઈટ? તો આ કેસમાં આપણે બાકીના સેન્ટેન્સ ટાઈપ અવોઇડ કરશું. વિલ અવોઇડ આસ્કિંગ ક્વેશ્ચન્સ. પણ કોઈ પણ સેન્ટેન્સ તમે જે સમરીમાં લખો છો એવું હોવું જોઈએ કે જે ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્ટલી ઓન ઇટ્સ ઓન ઇટ મેક સેન્સ ટુ ધ રીડર. આ ઉપરનો આખો પેસેજ કોઈએ નથી વાંચ્યો, પણ તમારી એક લાઇનની સમરી, એક લાઇન નહીં, સોરી, એક સેન્ટેન્સની સમરી જો કોઈ વાંચે છે તો ઇટ મેક્સ એ ગુડ સેન્સ ટુ ધ રીડર. So how do we do it? We always find independent lines which are meaningful and find the connectivity. If not, we make use of conjunctive adverbs, conjunctions, or simply the linking devices, જેને લિંકર કહેવાય, કોહેસિવ ડિવાઇસીસ કહેવાય. જોઈએ આપણે તો કેવી રીતે કરશું. It might seem the most natural of actions after all. આપણે જોયું, right? પણ ક્વેશ્ચન માર્ક હતો. But in 1609, the instrument, Q instrument, telescope, which had been invented only the year before by Dutch opticians, was known as a spyglass in anticipation of its military uses. The device was also sold as a toy. તો અહીંથી જ આપણને મળી જશે, રાઈટ? સો ક્વેશ્ચન વાળું માર્ક આપણે કાઢી નાખશું. ક્વેશ્ચન વાળી લાઈન આપણે નહીં લઈએ. વિલ સ્ટાર્ટ વિથ ધીસ વન. ઓન એ સ્ટારી નાઇટ in Padua 400 years ago, Galileoમાં G capital કરવો પડશે. Every first letter of a sentence has to be capitalized. At the same time, every proper noun has to be capitalized. Galileo કોઈ વ્યક્તિનું નામ છે, you know the scientist, so you have to capitalize their first letter. Turned a telescope toward the sky. રાઈટ? હવે કંજંક્શનનો ઉપયોગ કરીએ. કોમા But in 1609, કોઈ પણ યરની વાત હોય, કોઈ પણ ટાઈમ પીરિયડ, મંથ, યર, વીક, તો એમાં ઇન આવશે. પ્રિપોઝિશન ક્યુ યુઝ થશે? ઇન 1609, કોમા ધ ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ. ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ કોના માટે કીધું? ટેલિસ્કોપ માટે. સિનોનિમનો યુઝ કર્યો, પ્રોનાઉન યુઝ કર્યું, ધ ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ, which means they are referring to the telescope, which had been invented only the year before by Dutch, એટલે the people from Netherlands. નેધરલેન્ડ અથવા હોલેન્ડના જે લોકો છે એને ડચ કહેવાય. ઓપ્ટિશિયન્સ, ચશ્મા બનાવવાનું કામ કરતા હોય ઓપ્ટિશિયન્સ. was known as a spy glass. કોટ્સમાં લખ્યું છે સ્પાય ગ્લાસ. કોઈ પણ વસ્તુને એમ્ફોસાઇઝ કરવા માટે, એની ઉપર વજન આપવા માટે, ટાઇટલ ડિક્લેર કરવા માટે, રાઈટ, કોઈ પણ નવું ટર્મ ડિફાઇન કરવા માટે કોટ્સનો ઉપયોગ થશે. હવે આમાં કોટ્સની અંદર કોમા કર્યું છે. સમ સ્કૂલ ઓફ ઇંગ્લિશ કોટ્સની બારે કોમા કરે. બોથ આર કરેક્ટ. અમેરિકન એન્ડ ઇંગ્લિશ બોથ ડિફરન્ટ વેઝ ઓફ રાઇટિંગ. But as far as your PTE is concerned, just like your IELTS exam, it is supposed to accept both forms of English, which is British and American. In anticipation of its military uses. હવે હજી આપણે એક એડ કરવું હોય તો સેમિકોલન એડ કરી શકીએ. સેમિકોલન word count જોઈ લેવાના એકવાર. 44 is enough. You don't need to have semicolon at all because 44 words is more than enough. Just unnecessarily stretching the sentence will only mean that you may end up making more mistakes, be it punctuation marks or be it typing spelling errors. So now for 2 to 3 minutes you must proofread your answer and see if you have made any silly mistakes or any unobvious mistakes. Okay, so on a starry night in Padua 400 years ago, Galileo first turned a telescope toward the sky, but in 1609, આપણે અહીંથી લીધું છે વાક્ય. બી સ્મોલ થઈ જશે obviously because you are maintaining the continuity, you are writing within the same sentence. You just added comma, but was already there, so this is your coordinating conjunction. There are only 7 coordinating conjunctions which are acronymed as fanboys. F for, A for and, N for nor, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. But in 1609, the instrument which had been invented only the year before by Dutch opticians, was known as a spyglass in anticipation of its military uses. Full stop. Enough. Okay, we will not write any extra word. Control A, Control C. Just copy it in case you need to restart the question and reattempt it again. Let's submit and check our score. It's very interesting. Now, see, even though you have taken this sentence right from the question itself, so how can it be wrong? Now, the thing is that in question, they can or they will write certain things which are either not fitting the AI standard or they are there to basically twist your leg and make you fall for the trap, right? So what the AI is suggesting here is that instead of in anticipation, which looks very long phrase, you could have used other alternative words like anticipating or ahead of. Is it wrong? Absolutely not. It's not wrong, right? But in this type of situations, you have two options. Either go with it and take a half mark penalty, or second, you see whether there is a better alternative to certain phrase, certain collocation like this. Collocation એટલે એવા શબ્દોનો સમૂહ હોય છે કે જે સાથે કોમ્બિનેશનમાં યુઝ થતા હોય, જેમ કે અહીંયા in anticipation of. તો કોઈના એન્ટિસિપેશનમાં એ આખું 3 વર્ડનું એક ગ્રુપ છે ફ્રેઝ, એની બદલે તમે એન્ટિસિપેટિંગ પણ લખી શક્યા હોત, અહેડ ઓફ પણ લખી શક્યા હોત, રાઈટ? એન્ડ that too has to be formal piece of writing. It cannot be informal. તો તમારે એ પણ ધ્યાન રાખવાનું છે કે every written response in your PTE or IELTS exam are always formal language, informally written language. બાકી બધું બરોબર છે, આ પણ સાચું જ છે, પણ આને કાં તમે અલ્ટરનેટિવલી લખો અને કાં અડધા માર્કની પેનલ્ટી એક્ઝામમાં આવું થાય, નોટ નેસેસરી. પણ સી, ઇન ધ ક્વેશ્ચન they are allowed to make grammatical mistakes or choices which are not grammatically 100% best. તો તમારે શું કરવાનું? તમારે એને કાં ઇમ્પ્રુવાઇઝ કરવાનું અને કાં you go with the penalty. Okay, so again, having to copy everything from the question is good, but sometimes you can make certain synonyms, certain use of replacement of better words or alternative words. Okay, that's it from my end today. We'll continue with some other topic, some other knowledge for PT academic in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.